Welcome to Burnout Solutions, a podcast designed to help high achievers and healthcare professionals understand stress and how it can lead to burnout. Together, we'll explore how your brain and nervous system naturally work and why they sometimes hold you back, and how to overcome those challenges to fully enjoy the success you've worked so hard to create. I am your host, Mona Tippets, registered nurse, burnout coach, and resiliency educator. Hello and welcome. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Mona Tippets. I am a registered nurse and a certified life coach. I specialize in helping high achievers, especially healthcare professionals, overcome stress and burnout. And for a long time, I thought if I just worked harder, I'd finally feel successful and fulfilled. Instead, I found myself exhausted, overwhelmed, and really questioning everything I was doing in my life. And if this sounds at all familiar to you, you are in the right place. And today, what we're really talking about is burnout, what it is, why it happens, and why working harder really isn't the solution. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself and why I'm starting this podcast. So, I do know about burnout really intimately because I've lived it. For a long time, I struggled with perfectionism, and that led to some people pleasing, a lot of procrastination. And I really wanted to kind of hide my true, authentic self. On the outside, I seemed totally fine, very capable, successful, handling it all. But on the inside, I was often drowning in shame, self criticism, constantly seeking validation from not only other people, but from my accomplished to do list or my not accomplished to do list, from my body shape and size, from my bank account, from the amount of friends I had, both on Facebook and in person. I remember when Facebook came out, that was a hot topic. How many friends do you have on Facebook? You know, we search validation in lots of areas. When I was working as a nurse, I really prided myself on how many extra shifts I could pick up. And if I started my patients' IVs or if I had to get help from somebody else. And then I had kids, and it was, how are my kids behaving? Are they obeying? Are they not? What kind of mother am I? And all of these things were adding up. And I was kind of keeping a mental tally every day that I could calculate my worth based on how the day went, how the week went, what I was able to do or not able to do. And this, of course, added up. And I often also just found myself bending over backwards to help other people and to please others. Or I would often go into full control mode and it was my way or the highway. Um, I often lived in constant fear of criticism from other people. And so at work and outside of my home, I was always adapting myself to fit in with other people. And on the inside and at home, it was very much my way or the highway because I just really wanted to control the environment and control what I was able to do. And I felt like the more that I could control my environment, I would feel safer. I would feel more validated and that my life would be better. However, I learned really quickly that controlling my environment was really impossible. And it became very difficult to not get frustrated, not get overwhelmed, and not get burned out from trying to do these things. So, living this way was exhausting. And I really felt like I was on high alert all the time. And so that's what we're going to talk about is how a lot of people believe, like me, that when we are struggling and having a hard time, the real answer is to push harder, to work more, to be more productive, to hustle. And in reality, that's a mindset that drives burnout. Burnout isn't just about working too much. It's actually about chronic stress overwhelming the brain and the nervous system. I used to also feel like burnout was a personal failing, but now I understand it's actually a biological response. And when our nervous system is stuck in stress mode, we just can't push through and keep pushing and keep going, 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 and thinking that eventually, once we reach that goal, once we reach that area of life that we're working towards getting fulfilled, and we have this height that once we get there, then I can relax and then I can feel good. Well, there's always something different. There's always the next thing, and it's hard to stay satisfied when we're constantly pushing ourselves. So what I've learned is we can work differently, and working differently is different for every person. So I wanted to talk briefly about what burnout actually is. And the World Health Organization actually defines burnout. And they say that it's a syndrome resulting from chronic workplace stress that hasn't been successfully managed. Now, I do have a different take on this. It doesn't have to be in a workplace, it can be in the home, it can be in our relationships. It's not necessarily workplace. And it is stress that hasn't been successfully managed. But the World Health Organization has three key dimensions that they talk about. And the first is energy depletion. You feel like you're running on empty, and no matter how much you rest, you always feel tired. So wired and tired. The second is you have mental distance or cynicism, when your work starts to feel meaningless and you can think, why bother? Compassion fatigue with your patients or your students or your children or those around you. You're not very empathetic and you have a hard time really connecting with people. And the third is reduced professional efficacy. You start doubting your abilities, feeling like you can't keep up. I'm also going to say in there, personal efficacy. Your hobbies don't bring you joy. Your relationships are not very good. It spills into every area of your life, impacting your relationships and your health and your personal goal. It's not just about long hours working. It's really about the chronic stress that rewires the brain and our nervous system. And one thing I loved from my training with Dr. Eric Gentry is he describes burnout as feeling like our demands are much more overwhelming than our perceived supports. And when we feel that way, that we can never catch up, that we can never accomplish enough or measure up to those demands, that's when we burn out. I'm a very sciencey person, and that's why I totally have gone down a rabbit hole about the science of stress and burnout is the science of how our brain and our nervous system are designed to handle stress and what that stress does to the brain and the nervous system. So our brain and our nervous system are designed to handle short bursts of stress. But when stress is constant, things start to break down. For example, in our brain, the amygdala, this is our brain's alarm system. It becomes overreactive and keeps us in fight or flight mode along with our nervous system. Our prefrontal cortex, which is the part of our brain that's our rational thinker, actually shrinks with chronic stress and gets overwhelmed, and making decisions and problem solving become much harder. Our nervous system also gets stuck in a stress response and prevents us from really being able to get true rest and getting a recharge. We are wired and tired. Now, what I love is that this isn't just about mindset, it's biology. And the good news is our brain and our nervous system are always capable of changing through neuroplasticity and through rewiring. So this means that burnout isn't permanent, and we always have hope for more resilience and balance in the future. Okay, so I wanted to talk a little bit about burnout recovery and how working differently can help us heal and retrain. And the interesting thing is that burnout recovery is different for everybody because our nervous system wires itself differently. Everybody's nervous system is different and it creates patterns and it has a lot of past experiences. And our nervous system has an amazing memory. It's like a spy and it spies on you all the time. And when we get burned out, it's when our nervous system is constantly on overdrive. And so what we're trying to do is to create a healthier baseline. And that is where everyone varies. So let's talk a little bit about a few ways that you can become aware and know how to help your nervous system. And that's actually the first one is regulating your nervous system. So when you can learn to pay attention to your body and your body cues and what is your body telling you? 80% of communication between your brain and your body come from your body. So what does it feel like when you are in fight or flight mode or when you're in shutdown? What triggers do you have that bring you there? And what does it look like for you? What behaviors do you do? That's a good place to start. What behaviors do I do when I'm super stressed out? And just small changes like adjusting your environment to feel more supportive, being aware, taking a quick time out, calming your body down, relaxing your body, exercise, movement, mindfulness, meditations. And I've learned several tools that you can do in real time. That's for another day, but just understanding your nervous system. And that leads to the second one, understanding your patterns. So our nervous system forms patterns. So when we can identify the thoughts and behaviors that keep you stuck in stress mode, it helps us to know where to change. So are you constantly people pleasing? Do you procrastinate because of fear of failure? Awareness is the first step to changing those patterns. So pay attention and ask someone you love or someone who's close to you who can tell you what those patterns might be. The third is retraining your brain. So instead of pushing through exhaustion, start practicing small daily shifts that help your nervous system feel safe by using your brain. So use the 20% of your brain to remind the 80%, your body, that you are truly safe and that your nervous system doesn't have to go into protection mode to help you. So this might mean setting boundaries, slowing down, or replacing stressful habits with ones that really support you. And again, these are all different for each person. The fourth is rebuilding your energy. And I believe prioritizing rest, not just sleep, can bring true restoration. So how do you recharge? This is different for everybody. These are engaging activities that bring you joy and energy rather than depleting you. And it's interesting to me just how different my husband and I are. My husband works all day at the hospital. He's a physician and he uses a lot of mental energy. And when he comes home, he really likes to get outside and work. He's a farmer and he loves being on the tractor. He loves being outside in the field. He loves just walking, without his phone and being in nature. And even though it's a lot often physically demanding, it really does support him and bring him energy. I noticed that I used to exercise for an hour every day or more, and that probably just increased my cortisol level. And I have been able to change my exercise routine and change the amount of time that I do exercise every day, and it helps me feel better. I also love going on a hard mountain bike ride or going snow skiing or water skiing or doing things that I enjoy or gets me a different kind of exercise and is training my brain and my nervous system differently than my everyday things. And those activities are challenging me differently and bringing me more fulfillment. So again, it's different for everybody. A lot of people like to rest and true rest. Buffering behaviors like emotional eating, emotional drinking, scrolling on the internet or social media, those can often be buffering where your brain is telling you that you're slowing down and maybe you are and maybe you're not. Just pay attention to how your brain and your body feel after you do those activities to know if it really is rebuilding your energy or draining you and causing you more anxiety. And the fifth one that I thought about was shifting your mindset around success. So this has been huge for me recognizing that success isn't about running yourself into the ground. It's about sustainable achievement where you can accomplish your goals without sacrificing your well-being. And this is where you get to control what you can control and you let go of the things that you can't. So I just wanted to finish up with a few questions because I believe that one of the first things you can do, if not the very first thing to do, is to ask yourself a few questions and to have awareness and acceptance to help identify what's going on for you. So take a moment to ask yourself, what is my body telling me about my current stress levels? And again, this is where you drop into your body and feel what's going on. What does stress feel in your body? Where is it in your body? Do you carry stress in your shoulders? Is it in your lower back? Is it in your tight jaw? Is it in a furrowed brow? Is it in tight fists that are clenched? Or are your toes curling in your shoes? Pay attention to your body. The second question is, which of the 3 burnout dimensions, which again, the first is exhaustion, the second is cynicism, and the third is reduced efficacy, feels most familiar to me? And answer how. And have there been worse times in your life, better times in your life? And have you realized this and what seems to help or what doesn't work? And then the last question is, where do I feel stuck in my life? Is it in your profession? Is it in your professional relationships? Is it in your personal life, personal relationships? Is it in your goals? Is it in your passion for life? So just identifying the areas that we feel stuck can help us and our awareness with our burnout. So that's all I have today. I just wanted to close with a few thoughts. Again, burnout is not just exhaustion. It's a systemic issue tied to chronic stress, and that stress affects our nervous system and our brain and often creates patterns that are not serving us well. The solution isn't working harder, but it's retraining both the brain and nervous system to work for us and not against us, and retraining them to understand that many things in our life that we identify as stressful really aren't. Next time, actually, we're going to dive deeper into the nervous system. I've loved the nervous system, and we're going to talk a little bit about how it works and why understanding it is part of the key to overcoming burnout for good. So if today's episode resonated with you, make sure to subscribe, leave a review, share it with others, and let's start working differently together. I love helping clients understand this, understanding their patterns, and helping them identify how to eliminate burnout for good. Thanks for listening. If you found any piece of this podcast helpful, I would appreciate it if you could share it, leave a review, or check out my website at monatippets.com. Take care.